Yo, what's up guys? Dan here. I think today we are going to get into printing onto the console. Honestly, probably one of the most useful things that you will ever find within programming, and pretty much the first thing we're going to learn. Alright, so we got IntelliJ up. Yeah, if you just click on application, you should get this type of window that pops up where it'll basically ask you what type of project you want to start. There we go. Okay, cool. And so we're gonna hit new project, and it's gonna bring you to this screen where it basically is IntelliJ asking you like, all right, what are we gonna do? And so what we're gonna do is make sure that Java is highlighted on the left hand side, and then our JDK, or in this case for the SDK, this is what we basically downloaded on the Oracle website. So make sure that that is listed. If you're having any trouble, please comment below. I'll help you out with getting that fixed. So now that we've got both those two clicked, we're gonna hit next. And then we're gonna hit create project from template. And so we're gonna use the command line application. This is kind of like where you start out with creating programs. It's not really the most beautiful looking design in the world. We're not making any type of like graphical interfaces for the user, like a GUI, but hey, something that we'll eventually learn. But we're going to start with this, and then now it's basically IntelliJ trying to figure out like, okay, so where do you want to save this project? I am going to save this project into a file that I created called Understanding Java. I want to make a new file within this file. We're just going to call it, I don't know, episode 1, Hello World. Oops. There we go. This is just the way I like to organize things. You don't have to do it exactly how I do it. So we got the project name, we got the project location, basically the path of where IntelliJ is trying to find this project, and then we got this thing called a base package. So what is a base package? Well, I got a little analogy here I'm gonna try and put together. So in programming, this would be really bad by the way. In programming, we have these things called classes. And so a class, just like this pistachio, it contains our, basically our variables and methods, things that we'll talk about shortly in a couple of videos, but it's all encased in this class. And right here, we got our package. And so what we do is we start adding these classes to this package. They're all relevant. They're all useful to this package. And what's really cool is that when we want to use one of these classes, what we can do is basically just bring it into another project. We import it. It's kind of cool. I don't know. It's kind of a little way to showcase it. But not only that, you can take those classes and put them in another package if you want. It's kind of sweet. So in this case, you know, most packages, they are usually like a company's website, but reversed. So like company.com, generic, right? And so you don't have to, you know, you don't really have to do anything too crazy. I usually just put my name. You can have it whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to call it, go for it. We're gonna hit finish. And now we're gonna get this template set up. So one thing about IntelliJ is that it can look kind of daunting when you first open it, and that's totally okay. We'll kind of go through the interface a little bit. I'd rather just get straight to the programming, but if you guys have any questions, again, comment below. On the left hand side, we've got the our project folder, and then inside we have our src, and then this is basically where our package lives. And then within our package, like my awful analogy with pistachios, we got our classes. And so right here we got our main class. Okay, so we got our main class right here, and be sure to recognize that it's a .java file. And so this is basically how we save our classes in with Java. It's having that .java file. And so up here you get to see your package that you created. I get to see mine. And then we have this thing called main. And so this is kind of a good way to kind of visualize it, at least with me. That's how I do it. Just from curly brace to curly brace, that is our class. And so we have it set to public, which means that it's accessible to pretty much everything right now. Again, we'll get further into all this stuff. I'm just throwing it out there. We also have class. And like it is a class, and it is called main. Now, one thing about IntelliJ and a lot of IDEs is that it'll highlight the keywords. And so these keywords are what is necessary for Java to understand kind of what we're doing. Right below that, we have our main method. And so right here, we got public. It's accessible everywhere. Static, this is something that we'll kind of get into further. We'll just kind of ignore that right now. And then we got void. Void is basically, it returns nothing. The void statement, we'll get more into it later. Then we got the name of it, which is main. This is our main function right here. And one thing with methods, which the main method is a method, we get to pass arguments through these parameters or parentheses. Again, you really don't have to worry about this too much. We'll learn about this further along, but right here where it says write your code, right here we have these two exclamation points, not exclamation points, two slashes. And so in Java, when running code, anything that has these two slashes doesn't get compiled. So let's just write something. All right, let's just put something in the console. All right, first thing we're gonna do, one of the basic things you get to learn is System.out.print. Oops, and I'm typing that in the comments, which is not what you want to do. So it's System.out.print parentheses semicolon. Remember, everything in Java ends with a semicolon. All right, so we got these parentheses. Now let's write something and print it to the console. So we need quotes, and in these quotes we'll put something together. Hello world. One of those basic programs you can write, but it is kind of cool to watch it for the first time. So what we're gonna do to run this, we're gonna go over to the right and you see the run. A good way in order to run your projects without having to click it is, at least with Windows, it's Shift-10. And boom, you see it? Hello world. Pretty easy, right? I'm gonna leave it like that, just as simple as possible. We just printed something. Let's kind of mess with it just a little bit. Why don't you? Right? Too easy. Let's do something kind of fun. Let's do a little shortcut. So with IntelliJ, the shortcut that you can do, instead of typing out System.out.print all the time, oops, you gotta spell it right, and I definitely spelled it wrong. What you can do is you can do this little keyword called SOUT, System.out.print. Now, one noticeable difference between this top one and this bottom one is that there is an LN right here. So what does that mean? It means that there's a new line created when we print this to the console. So let me just show you. Let's take that and make another one. Favorite color is blue. Okay, so we have 2 print lines. Let's run this. So Shift 10, or you can just hit the green button, whichever works for you. Now notice how the top one didn't have the print line, and so you see in the console it isn't on a new line. It's just pretty much printing straight across. However, with my name is Dan, we got it right here, and then new line. My favorite color is blue. So kind of cool. One thing to just notice with using the System.out.print, you can type anything in here. But what if you don't type anything in a quote? Well, you get a compiler error, and IntelliJ is going to yell at you for it. It's not within syntax. One thing about programming is that you got rules you got to abide by. And if you don't follow those rules, IntelliJ, your IDE, is going to yell at you, but sometimes it doesn't. That's something we'll get into later. But simple, easy, System.out.print. You guys just created your first program. Congratulations. Hello world. Let's get started.